Hello, Food FAQers. This is Mariella,
And this is Eric
and we're your lovely hometown bakers,
and Cooks. We do more than
enthusiasts.
food enthusiast.
I like that. I like that better than foodie. I hate fucking foodie.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Like, oh, I'm
And
a
then
foodie.
they spell it with an IE at the end, which I don't know why really frustrates me.
You're not a
Foodie.
foodie, okay? You just made pasta. Get over it.
I like how pasta's like the bottom of the barrel for you. You're like, just make pasta.
It's like, would you like more pasta?
Well, listen,
Foodie.
with an IE.
With IE.
I'm like the grammar police. I swear to God, anytime anybody like says something to me via text that's misspelled or like I have to correct it. Like, and I know it's annoying, but I can't help myself. I have to teach. I'm here to teach.
I was trying to make a joke that English is your second language, like, but I couldn't figure it out.
And maybe
So
because of that, maybe
I
when you
couldn't figure
learn.
it out. But
Although I mean, I was speaking English young, you dumb fucker. Anyway, so today we're
well,
making bread.
you're doing a good job at it.
Queremos
Yeah.
comer mierda.
Whoa.
You know what that
So
means?
yeah, everybody, mierda means shit. Just to let you know, this is what I deal with every day.
Come mierda.
It means
Means
eat
you
shit,
eat shit.
guys.
You're a shit
Eat
eater, is
shit.
what it means. It's a verb.
I would think, I would think comiendo mierda, like eating
That's
shit.
active, right? But you just eat the shit.
Como mierda is just eat shit. That's like me telling you to eat shit. Como mierda. But in Spanish, it kind of means different. I
Yeah,
don't know.
because I'm telling you that that's what you are. You are a shit eater.
Whatever. I'm done with you. Let's get to the fucking bread, okay?
Okay, so I wanted to make a more complicated recipe, but my friend Eric here, he's scared. So listen, when we have a one-on-one lesson, whenever that's gonna be, Eric is gonna venture into the world of more complicated breads. But I went ahead and I acquiesced because Eric is afraid. So I will make this no-knead bread with you guys.
Okay, let
Okay?
me explain something, my methodology on this. We at Food FAQ are here for the home cook. And
Correct.
as a home cook myself, who have had no formal education in cooking, so as a home cook myself, my belief structure, and y'all can email this in and prove Mariella is wrong and is a monster. My belief system is the simpler we keep the recipe, the better it's going to be for everybody else. And you're going to want to try the recipe because here's the deal, Mariella.
Mm.
If I'm listening to a podcast and I hear somebody talk about the shit you wanted me to do yesterday, guess what? Not going to do it. But if you
Okay.
hear this one, I'm going to do it.
Okay. And I'm not saying that what you're saying is invalid, right? Which is why I made your little recipe. But I also think that we can grow, right? As home, I don't have a formal education either, right? I am just as non-educated as you are in some regards.
Well, okay, we're
And
educated
well, in
formally
cooking, right? I
in
don't have a
cooking.
formal cooking education, but I have ventured out into doing these things. And the only way you're going to get better at something, if you're truly interested, is to try it.
Of
And
course.
we will come back to this because I know that you are way more capable than you give yourself credit for,
We'll come
just
back
like
to
our
this
food
when we're face
FAQs.
to face.
But this is a very fairly simple recipe, I think. And the only special thing you might need is yeast.
Yeah,
Which, ooh, by the way, I was buying the packets, right?
I do
But
too.
then I decided to go ahead and buy it in the little glass jar and you keep it in your freezer. And I really kind of
Oh,
enjoy it better
oh, okay.
because it's
Yeah,
easier
because
to
I was just
measure,
buy I was just buy the quick rising yeast in little individual packets.
which you can do. And the difference between quick dry and active is that you can just throw in the quick what fuck I can't quick what is it called? Quick active? Is it
It's like
quick?
quick yeast, fast yeast.
Some shit. It's quick acting or some
You got
shit.
the yeast that takes like 24 hours to rise your bread, and then you got the yeast that takes like 2 hours to rise your
That
bread.
is incorrect. See, this is the problem. Okay, look.
Unbelievable.
The dry active yeast, you need to bloom. So you have to put it into your hot water with a little bit of sugar and you let it sit for 10 minutes. And when it foams, it's ready to be used. The quick acting one, you just put in with your dry ingredients and you can just like then add everything together in one pot.
Right, but the quick one rises quicker. You don't have to do like a multiple rise or things like that. You just do boom,
No,
two
untrue.
hours.
No, no.
Okay, you know what? We'll fucking we'll deal with
No,
this.
because I use the regular. I only have the regular, like the not the quick rising one. I have the other one, and it's the same thing. It's just the beginning process is a little bit different, but other than that, it's the same. It
I don't
acts
think so.
quickly
But
as well.
anyways, go on.
I okay, so I let this yeast rise for 1 hour, and it doubled in size, just like it would have had I used another type of yeast. Oh, you know what else I did yesterday, which was kind of interesting?
Mm,
Okay, after I mixed the dough, which we'll go into, I went ahead and like instead of putting cling film, which by the way, I don't like cling film. It's kind of
mm-mm.
annoying. I don't enjoy it unless you have the big industrial one with the slide
Right.
cutter. That one makes me fucking wet inside my panties, but I
That's
don't buy it often.
disgusting. Don't ever
Yeah,
say
I know
that.
you want to hear all about my vagina.
Nope.
So unless I
So
have that one,
gross.
which I never have, I really hate using it. So I've seen two things, right? First, I've seen online that they put shower caps on top of their bowls to cover, which I think is fucking brilliant. Like
Oh,
a
that is pretty
plastic
big.
shower cap. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you can get them at the Dollar Tree, like six for
Yeah.
whatever, which I think is smart. But I don't have that, right? So what I did was I put my bowl, my glass bowl that I was rising my dough into, a plastic shopping bag,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and then I just closed it up and I put it and I then put it in the microwave. The microwave is like your best spot to proof dough.
Yes. And so I do the microwave trick because where I live, we have winter.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for example, if I didn't have my heater on, which I don't normally because I don't like a hot place, but like I have to keep it, I have to make sure my apartment's always like at, let's say, 68 degrees. So without a heater, it'll go down to 50 something. But with a heater, 68 degrees. So yes, the microwave is great, especially if you live in a place with winter.
Mm-hmm.
It'll proof your dough a lot easier.
Oh, another thing you could do if you don't want to do that, you can put it in your oven with the oven light on. That
Yep.
also provides a great environment for your dough to rise. This is super easy bread to do, and it's all one bowl, which is I love as well. You don't need a dough hook. You don't need anything.
Right.
So here's how you make this. Okay, depending on the kind of yeast you're using, you can proof the 2 teaspoons of yeast in 1.5 cups of warm water. I just wait for the water in my faucet to warm like
Yes.
nicely, and then I use that. It can't be hot or you'll kill your yeast.
Yep.
I measure that out. I put like I don't know. I sprinkle a little sugar in there to feed it, and then I put in the yeast and I let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then it gets foamy on top. That's how I know it's ready. If you don't use that kind of dough, that kind of yeast, you can just go ahead and measure out your 3 cups of flour. You can use bread flour or AP, all purpose. You add 1.5 teaspoons of salt to that. You can add your 1.5 cups of water, your 2 teaspoons of yeast, and then you just like get a spatula and stir that bitch together into like the shaggiest of doughs. It takes a
Yep.
minute because it's a lot of flour that needs to absorb that water. So don't lose the fight, okay? Just keep going together and before you know it, it'll be slobby dobby just like Eric on a Saturday night.
I have no, I can't defend myself. Go on.
And then when you do that, you're gonna go ahead and pop it in the microwave in whatever way you want to cover that shit with cling film. If you want to put it inside a shopping bag, if you want to put a shower cap on that bitch, put it in there. About an hour. Well, you know what I like to do? Because I'm like so cute. I like to take a Sharpie and put the time on top that I set it in to rise, just so that I don't have to remember it. And then I'll put a timer on for about an hour.
That's just a
Why?
stupid extra step.
I don't know, it makes me hot. Like I like a Sharpie in the kitchen and I like labeling things because I'm a dork. But you really don't have to. It is stupid, but I like it. It makes me happy. So fuck you.
Mm. Anyways, go on with your stupid self.
So about an hour after that. So like, okay, let's say it takes an hour, right, for you to rise. You're gonna turn on that oven about 20 minutes before it's ready
Yes.
to 450 degrees with your Dutch oven inside. You want that Dutch oven to be hotter than
Hot.
Eric on a Saturday night,
That's 100% correct.
which is how he gets sloppy doppy.
I don't have a defense. Go on.
I know. So then when you do see that it has, so when you know it's ready, guys, you know it's ready because it has climbed up twice the size from which it started. If you have a hard time gauging that, get a Sharpie again and mark it when you put it in the
Oh
bowl.
my God. Just
These are good
look at
things
the
to
fucking
know.
thing.
When you put it in your bowl, if you have a glass bowl, which is the best idea because then you could really have a visual, you put a little line where it started so then you know where to gauge when it's doubled and it gives you a
Uh-huh.
visual cue. I've baked a lot of bread in my time, Eric, okay?
This is literally the only bread I bake, but go on.
So that's why you should probably listen to me.
Oh
So
my God.
then,
Go
when you
on.
see it has doubled, you got a big fat piece of parchment paper, which, if you're like us, you have 5 rolls of it.
Yeah, literally.
You get a large, like, I don't know, maybe like a foot and a half, right? And then you put it on your counter, and then you get that dough, which is gonna be sticky. It's gonna be sticky. You're gonna pour it into the parchment. Oh, and then you need 2.5 cups of Colby cheese, which I happen to have, which I was very excited about. I shredded the block like this. I've shredded it with my
That's
grater.
not the motion of shredding a block, but I'm sure
I was
many,
jerking off
many,
the pretend penis in front of my face.
many individuals from about 1992 to when you got married.
92. Holy shit, Eric. I was like 11. Fuck. I'm not
Listen,
that slutty.
go on.
Hmm.
Maybe 94.
Mother fuck, Eric. Okay. So you go ahead and you do the whole block. I got it from the Aldi because they had blocks for 1.99, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is a better price for cheeses. I don't know. I think even Walmart,
Listen,
which
Aldi and Lidl
the
have
best.
a really fucking good cheese selection. Okay, like it's
I agree.
surprisingly good and cheap.
Super.
Yes, so get to an Aldi and Lidl, and I'm telling you, you're gonna be shocked at the cheese selection, and it is really decent cheese.
And they have
Like,
seasonal things too, which is kind
yes,
of
they do. Yeah.
anyway. So you get that block of cheese, you shred it while you're waiting for this motherfucker to double. You're gonna shred your cheese. So that's gonna be a step. It's gonna keep you nice and busy while you're waiting for it to proof, right? Then you take all but a third of it and you put it into the dough and then you just kind of fold it into itself and like give it a massage and you get it nice and hot and bothered and then you make it so that the cheese is inside the dough, right? All on top of your parchment paper. So you don't have to dirty your counter, a cutting board, nothing. Do it there. Okay? And then with the third that's left over, you just pop a mound of delicious golden cheese on top to make a crust.
Yep.
Okay. Once you have all that shit done, you take your Dutch oven outside of the oven. You slide in the dough just with the parchment paper and everything. So just scoop it all up and then plop it in there. Cover it 35 minutes. Uncover it 15 minutes. Done.
Done. I do it a little bit easier. I mean, and no, I think the way you described it is perfect. I just use the stand mixer with the hook,
Okay.
and that's it. But no, I agree. You don't need a stand mixer for this. It's just for me, it's just easier just to turn it on, and that's it. I think I let mine proof for like 2 hours or something like that. The initial proof, the initial rise, and um, but I think you described it perfectly. And the reason why I use a stand mixer is because I do everything in the stand mixer, and then when I take the Dutch oven out of the oven, you're right that that is a really important step because it makes a nice crispy crust around it. Then all I do is like literally just take it from. I mean, I even mix the cheese in the stand mixer and everything, and then I just dump it from the bowl into the hot Dutch oven, and then put the extra cheese on top and throw it in the oven directly from there. So I just identical what you did. Just I just kept it in one bowl, but you are right. You do not need a stand mixer for this recipe.
Yeah, I think the stand mixer is really like an integral part of a new bread baker's arsenal only because it takes, I think, the anxiety out of feeling the dough,
It does.
thinking, is it good? Is it good enough? Is it perfect? Is it too
Correct.
sticky?
It
Blah, blah,
does.
blah.
Yeah. Correct.
Because there's like a lot of like mental exercises and hoops that you go through to make bread at
Yep.
home because you feel like it's going to be way more difficult than it actually is. But it is not. It really is super simple. But if using the machine takes some of that anxiety away from you, fucking put your mama in there. It doesn't matter to me. I don't give a fuck. But make the bread. Oh, you know what
Yeah.
would be good on this? Like some cracked black pepper. Next time I would do that. Would be yummy.
Something be good. That'll be good on it. Sometimes if I don't have excess cheese to put on top, I'll just melt some butter and
Yum.
some butter with like salt and garlic and whatever, not fresh garlic, like garlic powder, and just brush it on top.
Oh, you know what I did once, which is the
Mm.
recipe I really want to talk about with our friends here. But they add what's that? The garlic,
Yeah.
and that shit is phenom with the cheese. So if you wanted to add a
Yeah.
little bit of garlic in there, don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Do it.
I think you can do like pickled jalapenos in there. You can do, and I think what's fun about this recipe is use any cheese you really want. Like,
Yeah.
it's actually a good recipe to get rid of excess cheese in your refrigerator.
What's
If you
that?
want to do like multiple cheeses, and there is a lot of cheese in this recipe, so it is going to be a very cheesy bread. It's going to be a really good bread.
Yeah, like it says 2.5 cups. I didn't use 2.5 cups. I just
I don't
used
think
the
I've
one
ever
block.
used 2.5 cups in
I
this
don't.
recipe.
I didn't want to, honestly.
Like I'm under the assumption more cheese is better, just like more chocolate is better. But I don't think
Yes.
I've used 2.5 cups in this recipe before. I honestly, I just shred what I got, and if you have shredded cheese, use the shredded cheese too. It's perfectly fine. I'm not a big pre-shredded cheese person.
Not anymore.
Um, Not anymore. Exactly. Like I've evolved from that. But if
Oh,
you got shredded cheese in there, listen,
queen.
listen. That's right. But I have moved on from that. But use any cheese that you really like any cheese. I mean, I don't think like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a cheese would not go good in
I
there.
think anything soft won't work here.
Right, like don't use like a mozzarella or something like that. Like that's not gonna really be too great. Like I think like a hearty, I love using
Better.
like a really good cheddar, like an aged cheddar, like a hard cheddar. I love using
Mm,
that.
mm,
I've done Asiago before.
love that.
I've done a lot. So
You have.
well, I had to learn from somebody. So I think yeah, I love this recipe. It's
It
the
is. It's
first bread recipe I made without a bread maker. And I do have a bread
uh
maker too. And I will say that when you make bread, at least, I'm starting on my adventure too with this, but I think when you make bread outside the bread maker, it's a much better tasting bread than in a bread maker.
I've never tried a bread maker, but I imagine it's a good gateway drug, but maybe not where you want to end up.
It's good and it does it all for you. It proves everything, it does everything for you. But
There's no shame,
no, not at all.
but you don't need it.
No, not with this
No
recipe.
pun intended.
I didn't get the fucking joke, but I
You
don't get a
don't
lot of jokes.
need it. It's
It's like a fucking dad joke, Mariela. Jesus Christ, how old are
a
you?
mom joke, okay?
Okay, that's not
Mine.
how the saying goes.
Why not? Why does it have to be fucking dads? Like dads aren't even funny.
Well, I'm not a dad, but I'm pretty hysterical.
You're a daddy.
That is true. But
The
I'm hysterical.
children, honey.
No,
Okay, so that's it, you guys. Make fucking bread. It's a perfect time for bread, and you won't regret this. I mean, honestly, I made it last night, and we're halfway down already. Easy.
it's a good bread.
And this is like, I think it'll be yummy, like for breakfast, toasted.
Oh yeah, you toast it up a little bit. It's really good, Bonnie. I love
Yeah.
it.
And inside, like when you slice it, my cheese is like kind of like marbled throughout, which I really kind of love.
Hmm.
And then the crust on top, holy Jesus.
So I'm gonna take this as your apology for not wanting to do my bread
No,
recipe.
I've made bread like this when I first started too. It's
Yeah,
it's a
okay,
delicious bread.
whatever. I haven't heard about it until now. So
It's a delicious bread. The bread that I want to make is a bit more complicated, true. But I'm gonna work on his confidence, you guys, and then before you know it, he's gonna be putting all of his might into this new bread style. You'll see.
when we're in person, we're gonna do it. We're gonna set
He
a
just
time aside to do it.
he needs a little bit of my magical dust.
No one wants your magical
At least one person does.
Why,
Fuck off.
why do you have dust? I would get that checked out.
Motherfucker. Anyway, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast Player. Maybe I'll send this out on our Substack, on our newsletter. You guys should subscribe to our newsletter, where I absolutely intend to be more active because I think that's the wave of the future.
Hmm.
Seeing how our social medias are being surveilled and stuff, I think this is like maybe the next wave of content creators such as ourselves, our new way to communicate with you guys, where we don't have to be, not that we censor ourselves here and not that we use social media at all, but this could be maybe our way of communicating with you guys in a different way. So go ahead and
I like it.
subscribe. The link to subscribe is in our show notes. And don't forget to share us with a friend and make a loaf of bread, bitches.
Please make a loaf of bread. It's delicious.
We love you.
Bye bye.